Papa said, Charlie is my cat too now, and we need to decide what's best for him. This went on and on and on and on, lots of fighting, lots of yelling, until finally Papa put his foot down and said, his voice shaking, Charlie's not going anywhere. And then he started crying. Last year, I noticed that there were a lot of similarities between my father and my cat. They both hated being hugged. They both had like a lot of hair all over their bodies. And strangely, they started out hating each other. Now, how did that happen? Okay, let me tell you. During the pandemic, our papa wanted us to go back home. And we did. We so badly wanted to go. Everybody was going home. But there was a catch. We had a cat, Charlie. Now, how do you take a cat from Bombay all the way to Trivandrum, especially during a pandemic? We didn't know. Papa said, okay, listen, why don't you put him in a foster home or something? Or give him away to someone who already lives in Bombay? And we said, no. I mean, we can't do that. That's our baby. We can't abandon him. Listen, if we're coming home, all of us are coming home together. So, after a month of researching, we finally find out that we could take him on a train as long as we had special permissions, which we got. And so we went. When we reached home, everybody huddled around Charlie's basket and looked at him with a lot of curiosity. Papa took one look at him and said, oh, so this is the culprit. This is the cat that stopped my daughters from coming home? We knew he was pissed. We gave him his space. Meanwhile, Papa started religiously avoiding Charlie as if Charlie had done something wrong. Until one day, just as he was sitting in his chair, sipping his cup of tea in the evening, watching the news, Charlie jumped onto his lap. And suddenly, everything changed. How many of you guys have watched Powerpuff Girls? You know that one Powerpuff Girl episode where the creepy cat hypnotizes the professor? Yeah, that is exactly what happened. Ever since that day, Papa and Charlie would wake up together, go to sleep together, water the flowers together, watch the news together. It was like they were joined at the hip, soulmates, best friends. I don't know. Okay, listen. Charlie used to sleep on our bed. But one day, he just walked out and started sleeping with Papa instead. In the middle of the night, you could hear them exchanging sweet nothings, sharing the same pillow talk, Papa in his booming voice, Charlie in his baby voice. It was getting weirder by the minute. And then, one day, the time came for us to leave. Everything was opening up. Offices were opening up, shops were opening up. And so we went up to Papa and told him, okay, we're going now. And he said, yeah, that's fine. You do what you want. And then we said, obviously, we're taking Charlie with us too. Okay, so the minute we said that, Papa flipped. He said, what? Taking Charlie with you? Okay, think about Charlie's mental health. You can't just put him back in a 1 BHK like that when he's seen the world. We said, think about Charlie's mental health or your mental health? Papa said, my mental health is completely fine. What are you saying? This led to a tug of war. We said, Charlie's our cat. We're taking him back. Papa said, Charlie is my cat too now, and we need to decide what's best for him. This went on and on and on and on, lots of fighting, lots of yelling, until finally Papa put his foot down and said, his voice shaking, Charlie's not going anywhere. And then he started crying. And then he started crying. When I think about my father, I think about this stoic, indifferent man, completely in control of his emotions. He was the first person who taught me never to cry in public, because God forbid, what if someone sees you hurt and knows how to hurt you and uses it against you? If I knew how to cry in public, I wouldn't really be performing poetry on a stage, so that's a completely different thing. But anyway, when you see a parent cry for the first time, you realize something. That they're also achingly, heartbreakingly human. How could we not leave Charlie behind after that? And so we did. And like every other happily ever after Bollywood movies, the lovers were reunited with the consent of their stubborn family members, that's us. And it was the perfect love story. Actually, no, scratch that. This is not a love story. This is a story about vulnerability. About a man who finally embraced his divine feminine side and fought for something that was important to him. Even if the rest of the world probably thought it was trivial or not important, if it mattered to him, it mattered, right? Yeah. This is for all the men that I've ever met, all the men that I will one day have the honor of meeting. You're allowed to be soft, you're allowed to be gentle, you're allowed to be tender, you're allowed to be fragile, delicate, sensitive. You're allowed to be emotionally available. You're allowed to feel your feelings to the core, to the bone, all of that. We are finally building a safe space where you can love yourself and your cats. So do it. Why? Because it's beautiful, that's why. Thank you.